Matthew 16:13-20, Jesus says, "Who do you say that I am?" And Jesus asked this question at Caesarea Philippi, of all places, a crossroads town, thick with other gods, shrines cut into the rock face, water pouring out of a cave mouth that the ancients believed was the gate to the underworld. He doesn't ask it in the temple. He asks it at the edge among the idols near the mouth of hell. The question of who Jesus is isn't a sanitized question for academics. It is asked on the edge when people are uncertain. The cries questioning God don't happen at luxurious dinner table, but rather at the bins where there is a battle for scraps. Who do people say the Son of Man is? And the disciples give him the rumours: John the Baptist, Elijah, Jeremiah, one of the prophets. Then he narrows it, but who do you say that I am? Not the crowd, you. And Peter answers, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And Jesus blesses him for it. Flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, he says, but my Father in heaven. And then the keys, the rock, the church built on this confession, gates of hell not prevailing against it. It is Peter's best moment, arguably the only redeeming moment, this only unclouded moment in the whole of the Gospels. But 6 verses later, he is rebuking Jesus for talking about the cross, and Jesus is calling him Satan. That tells something the confession alone can't. The Japanese author Shizuku Endo, who I talk about frequently at the moment, spent most of his writing life circling one question: what happens to faith when it is tested past the point where confession can hold? And through 2 of his novels, Silence and the Samurai, the faith doesn't change so much as the understanding of the nature of the face of Christ changes. From the triumphant figures held within grandiose cathedrals where power is demonstrably ostentatious, to the emaciated figure, rejected man of sorrows they came to love. Who do people say the Son of Man is? Who do you say that I am? For Rodriguez in Silence and Hasekura in The Samurai, this is a journey of asking that question and reforming the answer based on the experience of life, an experience that was taken out of the comfort zone to the very edge of existence. In Silence, when the priest Rodriguez steps on the fumier, the Japanese stamping stone, this for Endo is not the end of faith, rather it is the mark of the beginning of a true faith based simply on love, not knowledge or power or of being saved. The face in the bronze speaks to him as his foot comes down, and it says, trample. It was to be trampled on by men that I was born into this world. And Rodriguez goes on from an unquestioning professional faith to then a stronger faith that seemed to renounce the faith that he had brought to Japan. It is confusing because we understand it two-dimensionally. Endo is asking for us to understand much less linearly. The confession of faith and then failure by apostatizing on the stone are not opposites. They are the same man at different distances from the fire. That is Peter, 6 verses apart. You are the Messiah, and then, not so very long after, I do not know the man. Same mouth, same heart. The rock on which the church is built is also the man who will deny Jesus 3 times before the cock finishes crowing. We tend to preach Peter's confession as an achievement, a high point, but I think Matthew wants us to notice how quickly it fades away, because that is what precisely makes it useful to us. If the confession only counts when it is clean, unbroken, untested, unstepped upon, then most of us are disqualified most of the time. How often do we say the words and actually don't mean them? We just recite them because this is what we do. Endo's Fumier says this is not the end of the story. The face under the foot does not stop being the face of the one who loves you. It asks to be trampled, so that the trampling itself becomes an act of love received rather than love betrayed. Peter's confession at Caesarea Philippi is not proof that he had arrived. It's the ground he will fall from, and the ground Jesus will meet him on again, on a beach, after the resurrection, with a charcoal fire and 3 chances to say I love you, to undo 3 denials. The church is not built on Peter's perfection. It's built on a confession that will be failed and be forgiven and be renewed. On this rock, which is cracked, doubtful, denying rock, the church will be built. And thank God, because we all fail, we all get it wrong. If not deliberately, then certainly through misguidance. The gates of hell do not prevail against the church. They don't need to. They've already got a foothold in every one of us who says yes to Jesus and then on the worst day shut our eyes or turn away because we can't cope with the God-forsaken where God dwells. Endus du Hanscher, which is the companion who suffers alongside, is not a Christ who stands apart from Peter's failure, arms folded, waiting for the confession to be worthy again. But he's the Christ under the foot. He's the Christ at Caesarea Philippi and the Christ at the charcoal fire. Same face, different distance. So when Jesus asks you, who do you say that I am? We don't need to give an erudite answer based on profound theological knowledge, but rather offered with whatever you've got left of your belief this week. Out here at the edge of things, near the water that used to be the mouth of hell. That's enough rock to build a church on, and it's the only rock any of us have ever had.